we have long been in the conservation, weatherization mode, and it's ironic. People say, well, why in the world do you encourage customers to use less of your product? And a lot of people don't realize that we make no money on the natural gas itself, no money on the commodity. Your bill has two parts, the commodity and a delivery charge. And we make our money, we make an allowed authorized return on that delivery charge. That's reading your meter, it's everything it takes to service you, safety, those kind of things. So we are, with some rate design now, we are relatively neutral as to the volumes of gas people use. So we really have jumped in and are trying to find ways to help people save gas, conserve gas, and save dollars on their bill. This is a whole house weatherization program that particularly benefits high energy users, high energy homes. It's based on a low-cost home energy audit that recommends energy efficiency improvements that could be made, and then provides substantial rebates for the improvements. We used to offer it only to payment trouble customers. We're offering it to every customer we have out there now. And an audit, a comprehensive audit can cost $500. I believe the fee for our audit is $50. If you take advantage, if you take action on the thorough report we give you, we'll show you what can be done, approximate costs, and how much you'll save. Then we rebate the audit fee. And again, we have significant rebates on every aspect of conservation, including new high energy efficient furnaces. And in fact, we're partnering with Huntington Bank to provide super low interest loans for folks who would like to finance the cost of these improvements. So it really is a real deal. It really is a neat thing. And in some cases, and a lot of it's older housing stock, you can save up to 35% on your gas bill. That's significant. That's significant. So the response has been overwhelming, and the results, I think, have been equally impressive. To date, we've performed almost 12,000 home energy audits, and more than half of the customers who have had the audits elected to make energy efficiency improvements to their homes. These folks have reduced their natural gas consumption by a total of about 209,000 MCFs of gas. And an MCF is 1,000 cubic feet. We estimate over the next 5 years that number will jump to more than 500 million MCFs. And again, we estimate the average annual gas bill reduction is in the vicinity of 30%. And it gets even better. HPS's holistic approach to home energy efficiency means that customers save on their cooling costs during the summer and on their water bills year-round. And the Commission recently recognized the value of our program by extending it for another 5 years. Okay, I'm going to get to the fun part. This is exciting. It used to be such a dull business. Back when prices were held artificially low, which created shortages by our beloved legislators. All we had to do was get the gas from one end of the pipe to the other. And we filed rate cases and nobody even noticed. You know, regulatory lag takes a year to get through a rate case. You had to back-to-back rate cases. And of course, that ended abruptly in the 80s when we had price spikes because of deregulation of 20% a year. And again, people thought we're making money on the gas, all that money is going into our pocket, and that's not the case. This is a new era. And have most of you heard about the shale plays, Marcellus, which is basically Pennsylvania. The one coming on strong is Utica, which involves Ohio. We could right here be sitting on a Utica shale formation. You see that little bump on the west side there? That's actually reaches out to Columbus. And this hasn't been perfectly defined. There are wells being drilled right now to define this. Could well, between Pennsylvania and Marcellus, could well become the largest gas find in the world. And it's in our backyard. Historically, we bring 98% of our gas up from the Gulf of Mexico. Imagine the costs of having to pressurize that gas all the way up from the Gulf of Mexico to the eastern markets. This gas is in our backyard. We're actually taking Marcellus shale gas in our Pennsylvania property, Columbia Gas in Pennsylvania. And I think the best is yet to come for Ohio. What you have here, and I hope you can see the yellow line, the yellow boundary. The yellow boundary is Marcellus, which is on about a 6,000 to 8,000 foot level, and Utica, which is the green, overlaying the Marcellus is at about 10 or 12,000 feet down. And again, Marcellus, you read about it, is much more, becoming much more developed, but Utica has some really unique aspects to it. But that is absolutely huge. I'm getting off my script, but I get excited about this. But there are enormous reserves here, and they hold, they are not only going to keep natural gas prices low and stable for the foreseeable future, but I think they may turn this country into a natural gas supporter. And think about natural gas, a little plug. Cleanest burning fossil fuel on Earth, compared to coal, compared to oil. Unbelievable from a national security standpoint. It's pure domestic. There's so many positives about gas that it's going to take off. We've got to find ways to use that, and we're going to see more and more natural gas vehicles, for example. But this is wonderful. When you think about it, when you think about production, and Columbia's not in the production business. We have interstate pipelines. We have a great footprint over this area, in Pennsylvania and Ohio. And then we're in the distribution end. The interstate pipes sell the gas wholesale to affiliated and not affiliated customers. But when you think about, there's been millions of wells drilled in this country since the 1800s. And originally they just stumbled on it. In fact, they probably saw gas on the surface that lit somehow and realized they got an energy source. And they started drilling wells straight down. And a lot of it was guesswork in the beginning, but now we've become very sophisticated from a geology standpoint. And we can find these domes or pockets, and there's usually oil, and then you have on the upper part of the dome gas. And guess what? That's just a little leakage. That all leaks from shale beds. And the technology that's happened just overnight, and I'll show you an illustration, is they found a way to drill down and horizontally, you drill 6 or 8 wells from one pad, drill horizontally, and then frack that shale. You crack that shale open. So it's like we're tapping now the mother lode, the root cause. It's not seepage. But we've found a way to extract the shale, and the quantities there are incredible. They're incredible. It's a game changer. Now, most drilling right now takes place, as I said, in the Marcellus Shale Formation in Pennsylvania, New York, other portions of the eastern United States. And these production companies are only just beginning to explore the potential of the Utica Formation, again, which is deeper underground than Marcellus. And much of that activity is taking place in eastern Ohio. Tapping into shale formations isn't really anything new, but until the past few years, large-scale drilling has not been economically feasible, and it is now. It's just an example of a drilling site, what a modern well looks like. And the rig drills down vertically thousands of feet into the shale formation, then turns horizontally to create a number of lateral channels. Several wellheads can be created at a single drilling site. The horizontal drilling technique, excuse me, is what has unlocked these new reserves of shale gas and made their extraction profitable. The next step is the fracking process. And I'll explain it in a minute, but before we get into the controversial stuff, I want to talk about the upside potential of shale gas production. Just speculation about these huge reserves that could be brought to market has really dampened the commodity price. As I said, it's one of the reasons our gas bills this month are only about $100. But the potential ripple effects of shale gas production are staggering. I'm talking about thousands of new jobs, the infusion of millions of dollars into the state and local economies, and the re-energizing of the steel industry, think about that, and many others that supply natural gas producers. You may have also heard that Ohio is in the running for a cracker, a plant that would strip liquids such as ethane and butane out of the natural gas for use in plastics and other products. More jobs, more economic development opportunities. I wasn't really sure what a cracker was. It's not a little processing building. It's a refinery. It's huge. It costs billions and billions of dollars. I think you're going to see an announcement on it from Shell on building one of these. Ohio, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania are in the running. Regardless of the location, we're going to benefit in Ohio. The other thing about Utica shale, Marcellus is, as I said, shallower and produces more dry gas. Utica is less mature, and we call it a wet gas. We call it liquids. The price of gas is so low, there's now some shutdown on the drilling in the Marcellus. We're actually seeing rigs shift to Ohio because not only do you have gas, but you have the liquids. Once you process that methane out, the butanes, there's a market there. And those markets have margins that are comparable to the price of oil. The other thing that is a part of Utica is oil itself. And again, we're back up over $100 a barrel. I was around the '73 embargo. We waited in line for gasoline. We're going to get crippled again. I really believe that because of Iran and some of the things going on. We didn't learn our lesson in terms of the long-term national energy policy. But boy, this is part of the answer. This really is. There's so much opportunity here. If we can begin to shift from a petroleum-based energy economy to one that uses more domestic gas, we really can free ourselves from these political shackles of overseas oil production. That potential is staggering. And it even saves lives. You know, no one ever admits it, but a lot of our young people are in harm's way, and one of the main drivers is oil. It's energy, whether it's Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, it's all about energy. Well, we've got to get energy dependent. You know, I was at a shale conference at Ohio State late last year, and the CEO of Chesapeake, which is one of the largest drilling companies drilling in these areas, Aubrey McClendon, was a keynote speaker. The only thing about having an Ohio State, a lot of students were around. A lot of students were focused on this. They found his picture, and before he could get in the building, there were about 100 students that had surrounded him, and they had the no fracking t-shirt on, and really challenged him. And he said, number one, please learn about fracking. Learn about what it is and isn't. There are a lot of misrepresentations out there. Number two, I bet every one of you has at least one friend that is in harm's way somewhere over in the Mideast. And he said, that's got to stop. And allowing us to develop these domestic sources of gas and oil are going to lessen the pressure of having to send our young people over there. And he kind of stopped them. He stopped them in their tracks. I thought it was pretty impressive. Okay, am I doing it right on time, John?
We're probably right up against it.
Are we really? Okay, sorry. Real quick. This just gives you an example of fracking. And the thing I want to point out real quickly is, you can see the blue at the top. Those are the water tables. Again, a misnomer about fracking. Boy, you're going to pollute water tables. Well, we've drilled millions of wells in this country and gone through water tables to much shallower levels. And there's never been a major pollution of a water table. You case properly with cement and steel and go right through it. In terms of the fracking, which is pressure and liquids down 12,000 feet, that's all bedrock. You're not going to disturb water at all. So a lot of misrepresentation out there, and we've got to correct that. We've got to work on that. I may, if we're up against it, I may